All right, YouTube. I'm coming to drop some knowledge on you here. Uh, Going through my suggestions today, I was coming across a few reports on Governor Newsome and how he's controlling California and all the stuff that's going on in California, and specifically the issue with Governor Newsome and the apparent financial problems that that state's going through with what they'll tell you is the raising of the minimum wage and the theft problem going on in local stores that are causing these stores to close and move out of state. Uh, it would seem on the surface that a lot of this stuff is just the result of bad politics, and that the corporations and companies that own these stores, both privately and publicly, are having problems in California because of the policies of the state government there, and specifically Gavin Newsom apparently is the main target for a lot of these media sources, and you'll find this same theme recurring through many different social media news media sources. Here we have one from Sophia Miller. Uh, you can see the thumbnail, and over here in the suggestion box, there is clearly another influencer that is almost identical to the one we're looking at here. This is over here is Emily Parker, and she's got literally the same exact thumbnail going on, and everything is almost in the same exact spot. Outlined in red, the red square. I don't know if that rings any bells when it comes to communism or not, but maybe that's just a coincidence. I don't know. It's technically not a square. I guess it's more of a triangle, or pardon me, not a triangle, a rectangle. But this one here and this one here, and they love to show Governor Newsom with a mean countenance about his face, an angry countenance about his face. Whereas when you see him in most of his interviews and stuff like that, you don't see this kind of a face from him. You see more of a happy go lucky, optimistic type face, very articulate, very intelligent individual, uh, charismatic. He's got a lot of charisma about him. You might not like him, but the way he carries himself and the way he holds himself, if he didn't talk, you might actually just like the guy. But that's pretty common in our politics today. A lot of our politics is based on charisma more than actually what's being said about him. And you would think that a guy like this would have a lot of opponents. And he does have a lot of opponents, but there are a lot of people out there who really support the guy. And we're going to get into some deeper stuff here, and you will call me a conspiracy theorist by the end of this. Some of you will. Some of you will say, you know what, he's exactly right. And they're going to be probably in the minority people that'll hear this, if anybody hears it at all. Uh, but nonetheless, I'm going to break down exactly what's going on here. For starters, let me just show you the reoccurring themes that go on with these different media sources who claim to be fighting for truth and their political perspectives. And in reality, this person here and this person here are on the same exact page. They just have to make it appear that on the surface they are butting heads. That way they can influence you from both directions. So here's just one example of the kind of stories that are being put out there now. Here's another one. Uh, this lady here's name is Megan Wright, and you can see she's got the same exact red outline, same exact. His picture there isn't. He looks more concerned there more than angry, but nonetheless, it's more of a negative countenance about his face when they show it. They're trying to influence you to have a certain perspective on him based on the way he looks and not about what he says. Even though what he says is enough to make you dislike the guy, they still want to influence you with that imagery because imagery is powerful. And that's the reason that you get these. And here's another one. It looks a little worried there in that one as well. Kind of puckering his lips, keeping his mouth closed. This is Elizabeth Adam. You can see she's got the same kind of look about her, same red square going on there. And they're always pointing out the companies that he's apparently butting heads with. Here's another one, Fuel Alert. This one's called Fuel Alert. Here, Governor Newsom is clearly agitated, got a negative look about his countenance. I don't know who this guy over here is, but apparently these guys, by the looks of things, are opposing each other. And again, that's just a show for the people. In reality, you can take this line away, and down here in the bottom, they'd be shaking hands because they both work for the same people. There's another one. This is Sophia Miller again, same red square. Governor Newsom, angry, enraged about this one, whatever's going on here. The governor explodes. There's another one for Sophia Miller. Same thing going on. Upset Governor Newsom. There's another one. I've never seen this guy in this kind of mood. Never. And here's another one from a Shannon Bream. Same thing going on. It's like, what's going on here? Why are these AI generated? Kind of looks like it might be AI generated, but I don't know. But doesn't that kind of look a little weird there? Is she in front of a green screen? What's going on there? Can't quite tell or make it out. But something's definitely going on there. Here's another one from Emily Parker up here with Gavin Newsom. What other ones we got here? Another one from Emily Parker here, Gavin Newsom. He ain't in such a bad mood in that picture there. But yeah, again, all these people are working for the same ends, and we're gonna get into that. Uh, so first off, all this stuff with Gavin Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom. Uh, a lot of this stuff, it's designed to be this way. So California is, as most people know, that's the state where a lot of rich people like to live. A lot of powerful people, a lot of entertainers like to live there. It's like the Washington for Washington D.C. of the entertainment industry. All the orders and stuff and the way that that whole entire industry is structured comes directly from uh, Hollywood and Los Angeles. Uh, but going even deeper into what's going on here. So, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I believe that California is has been handpicked by the, and here we go with the conspiracy stuff. And again, like I said, some of you people are going to call me a kook, but I know I'm right. Uh, California is basically like I was saying earlier, basically the Washington D.C. for at least the entertainment arm of the New World Order. And their goal is to create for themselves a basically a hedonistic utopia where they can live in their mansions and do all the stuff that they like to do without being bothered by poor people. And there are a lot of people in on that conspiracy to create that. Not just the governor and his minions. A lot of people that live in the state are part of this program. Mostly the rich people. There are very few poor people who are going to support this kind of stuff because it just doesn't work for them. And going beyond that, the people who control these companies, like Kroger, like Boeing, like uh, Walmart, and others, um, they're just as much in it as the governor is and those people that are supporting the governor. Now, this is basically goes to the conspiracy that there is a hidden secret government and agenda behind that which is portrayed to the public, which is basically just a front. Sort of like how the mafia has fronts in order to launder their money. They have fronts in order to progress their schemes for the development of their perfect society, their hedonistic utopia that they want to live under. Uh, and at the end of the day, poor people are parasitic to them. They're not. There's nothing that they can get out of poor people that will benefit them in any way, shape, or form. In fact, all poor people do is hinder their agenda. So they want to, and when I say their agenda, I'm talking about the people that control these companies as well. They go on the same exact agenda that these people go on. These people and these people are on the same side despite what they portray in the news and despite what these people tell you that they say. Uh, so, in order to get poor people away from you, how would you go about getting them away or putting the idea inside them that this isn't the place for me? I need to move because my needs are not being met. And I'm not just saying necessarily poor people, as in people who don't have jobs, people living on the street. Uh, the lower middle class falls right into this same exact category. Even a lot of the middle and upper middle class fall into this category. Uh, so again, these people and this girl, they're all on the same page. There is no difference between him and them, nor is there any difference between them and her, nor is there any difference between her and him. They all have the same agenda, and I'm going to prove it to you that she works for these people and these people, and that they're all in on the same thing. So, in order to get rid of poor people out of your society, the first thing you would want to do is to start denying them access to their basic everyday needs. And that includes jobs, that includes medicine, that includes food, and that includes, to a certain degree, shelter. And as a result, this group here cannot just come out and say, hey, we're moving out of California for no good reason. In fact, they have a good reason. They want to clear the state out to make it available for the rich and the powerful and the entertainers and the quote unquote stars and the elite, quote unquote elite. Uh, that all these people are far from stars and are far from elite. They're actually the worst of the worst that the world has to offer. They like to give themselves those titles because it puffs them up. It makes them prideful. It makes them feel like they have power. Makes them feel like they have sway in the world, which they do. But those terms do not apply to them. They're not elite. In fact, they're the opposite of elite. In my definition of elite, I would think of somebody who actually cares about the poor, someone who actually uh, does stuff and makes an agenda to try to help and secure the poor people of the world. Because they, inside their heart, they can sympathize with those people and they can put themselves in their shoes and they could say, hey, you know, these people got it tough. We need to help them out. Another thing they do, let me add on to that. Not only do they do the stuff that I said earlier to try to get poor people out of a certain area by denying them access to certain things, they also do other things to poor people as well. They flood their head with garbage information, garbage entertainment. That's a huge problem in this world today. So everything that comes out of Hollywood, everything that comes out of your news media, everything that comes out of the music industry, all that kind of stuff is also part of this same kind of attack that they're perpetrating on the lower middle class and the poor people of the world. And a lot of them aren't aware of that. As far as the poor people go, they're not aware of that, and as a result, they're susceptible to those kind of influences. And so they got attacks coming in financially. They got attacks coming in on their health. They got attacks coming in on their mind and on their spirit and on their soul. Uh, they are ruthless. They are absolutely ruthless. If they could, if there wasn't a certain segment of America, and if that certain segment of America didn't have access to certain resources, they would just openly, I believe, 100%, they would just openly start opening concentration camps. And maybe this might ring a few bells and a few circles on. You could maybe apply this to certain incidents that are already going on. They would literally just open up concentration camps, and they would start And again, this is definitely not going to get monetized. They would start gassing people and they would start burning them just like the Nazis. 100%, no doubt in my mind. We here in America, we murder over 2,000 unborn babies a day in the womb. We call it abortion. It's actually, just in utero murder. That's what it is. Uh, and anybody can tell you that. Anybody who's been pregnant and has felt their baby inside them moving around and kicking know that there's life in there. They know that there's life in there, and they know that that is a individual, separate life form, not part of them. Other than the umbilical cord, which attaches to the mother. And a lot of people would say, well, babies themselves, and they got this information. And again, this goes back to that parasitic idea. They got this idea that somehow babies are to a certain extent parasitic to the mother. They're not. Babies actually produce stem cells that, because of the way God designed things, he knew that the baby through the umbilical cord would be dependent on the mother for its safety and for its health. And as a result, the baby itself, when the mother gets sick, the baby itself will actually produce stem cells, which will transfer through the umbilical cord to the mother in order to repair and try to make the mother healthy so that way the baby can survive and that way the mother can survive. Babies are not parasitic. They're actually it's a symbiotic relationship between a baby and a mother. It's not a parasitic relationship. But anyway, going back to the original thing. And that just goes to verify my idea that if they had the ability, they would put these people in concentration camps. They would gas them and then they would burn them. And they would turn them into, they'd turn them into ash and they'd use that ash to, throw on the snow in the wintertime in order to give their vehicles better traction so they could move more people to these concentration camps. They would 100% do that. 100%. I could see him wearing a Nazi uniform 100%. uh, and, I'm kind of laughing at it a little bit, but that's kind of a byproduct of how terrible it actually is. If I were to actually get mad about it and sad about it, it would have an effect on my psyche and my soul. And that's sort of a defense mechanism that I have. It kind of irks people in a certain way because sometimes I'll hear something really bad about something and I'll kind of laugh it off, or something that, just really, really would naturally make me angry or sad. Uh, I'll laugh at it. And people might look at me and be, oh, he's got some kind of problem going on there. Yeah, I do. Uh, but it's not the kind of problem you think it is. It's what you're actually seeing is basically, like I said, a defense mechanism to the real issue, which is deep hurt and deep pain about these kind of things that go on in our society. But yeah, like I said, going back to the issue at hand with these different social media influencers. So what's going on here is that again, these companies, they want to move out of California because they know if there are no jobs there, people won't stay there. They'll move to other places where they can get jobs. Uh, don't believe this kind of stuff either. Billionaires leaving California following new laws. Most of them aren't leaving California. Uh, the ends justifies the means. So going back to what we were saying, so the plan is basically these corporations and these minions. They have the same agenda. And again, we already described how we want the people out and how we get them out. But going into the specific agenda of basically what's going on, the governor raised the minimum wage to, I guess it was $22 an hour or something like that. He not only raised the minimum wage, which gives these people an excuse, uh, but he also had made laws about theft, retail theft, where anything other than under $1,000 you can't even be arrested for. Basically, giving criminals free reign to go in and to stock up almost to $1,000 worth of goods and just walk out of the store, not have to worry about any kind of consequences. It would seem on the surface like that was something that he just came up with, but those ideas and those laws weren't made by him; they were made by them because they are part of the agenda, and they want to move out of the country, not the country, but they want to move out of the state in order to deny people access to not only their goods and their services, but to jobs as well. And these people can't just move out of the state willy nilly for no good reason, because people will be like, why are you doing that? It seems to me like you have an agenda to hurt the people of California, and not just the people, but specifically the lower middle class and the poor people. So these people here, in order to further the agenda, must have a reason on the surface for them to move out. So the way that they do that is they get these people to make those laws that then turn around and seemingly hurt these people, but in actuality, it's just furthering the agenda that all these people have. So that way, these people have what they would call probable deniability. In other words, oh, we're not leaving because we want to. We're not leaving because we want to put a big burden on the poor people and the lower middle class people of that state. We're moving because people are stealing from us. People are stealing from us, and the governor raised the minimum wage to $22 an hour. How can we stay here if not only we have to incur the losses of the stuff that gets stolen, but now we also have to pay higher wages to the people that work here? We have to leave. We have to. We can't do it anymore. We have to leave. Sorry, we got to go. Yeah, you're not fooling me, buddy. And that's why that's why this whole situation was created. And she over here working for those people are is basically trying to get you to believe in this narrative over here, which is a false narrative. And again, all this comes down to that all these people here are working together. They're not actually, she's not actually a pundit. This company is not actually experiencing problems that they didn't create and want to go through to give themselves probable deniability belief. And this guy over here is just a big old puppet. That's what this guy is. And yeah, that's what the people of the lower middle class and the poor people have to put up with. Not only that, but again, the drugs, and the issues with the mind control as far as the media consumption of these lower middle class and poor people, including, again, like I said, their music and their entertainment and the social media. And so that's what they have to deal with. And if you don't believe me, well, I didn't even get into this part. I can't say so if you don't believe me until I tell you the thing that you may question. Uh, all these people, all this stuff, all these media influencers that seem to be cookie cutters, the same exact thing over and over and over again. And this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. There's many other ones in here where, you know, are going to have very similar agendas. And so, what I wanted to explain to you is that all this was set up way back in the day. This group of people, these quote unquote elite, uh, they have had an agenda for hundreds and hundreds of years. They have an idea for a perfect society and how they want it built and who they expect to be in it and who they want out of it. And if you're not part of the club, they got plans for you, and they're not good plans. Uh, and this is here we're talking about a state issue with the governor and these corporations and stuff, but it even goes further than a state issue. It goes down into the federal government is really, really deep in this. I don't know that there's anybody in the federal government, despite the fact that they have the Democrats and the Republicans seemingly always button heads with each other. At the end of the day, the mainline agenda of and we're just going to call it what it is, what Bush has referred to time and time again. Many other people have talked about it too. The New World Order. That's what it is. And there was an old saying I heard a long time ago. The New World Order, there's nothing new about it, and there's no order involved with it. At least not until they get their plans to fruition. Until their plans come to fruition, their main design and scheme is to cause chaos, as much chaos as they can possibly cause. Uh, and that is to achieve the ends, and their means is to, again, to corrupt the people morally, corrupt the people financially, corrupt the people's health, just corruption all across the board. And this teaching in this idea of doing this to people in order to gain control over society goes way, 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 way back. You can do your own research into that and figure out how exactly that works. But a lot of it has to do with, and again, go. Let me regress here. Let me go back to the original point I was trying to make when it comes to the federal government. So the federal government has this institution called the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. Um, I don't know a lot of the people in the CIA. I don't know how compartmentalized it is. I don't know how many people are aware of the agenda. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the agenda is, other than the ultimate goal of the agenda, which is the New World Order. But the CIA influences, and especially when you're talking about, like, you know, like Trump, he hates CNN news, right? But he loves Fox News. But at the end of the day, CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, all those factions, all those institutions are also taking orders from the same exact people. Not only those, but uh, these seemingly independent journalists. Uh, with the advent of YouTube and the rise of independent journalism, that group, that that New World Order, has realized that uh, they got to be really careful now, because with people's access to YouTube, and YouTube has been working along with them for quite a long time as well, uh, by setting up new algorithms, shadow bans, stuff like that. Uh, I remember back in the day when YouTube first started, one of the greatest things about YouTube was finding these random, independent, low number views, little channels where people are getting on there and telling their side of the story and what they think is really going on. And it was really a source for real people talking about real ideas that they actually had, as opposed to getting some script from their masters and then following the script and furthering the agenda. And so for that group, it would make sense that they would have to. And see, now this one here isn't quite too big. It's a little humble little channel with only 15,600 subscribers. But you get into some of the other ones. That one here's only got 15,800 subscribers. Now that almost seems like the same bot that created this channel is the same bot that created this channel. The same number of bots, just about, subscribed to the channel, with a few extra. This one's got 200 more than this one. So this bot here and this channel here was able to rake up probably a couple hundred real viewers. But my guess is that this channel here and this channel here are being controlled by the same bots based on the number and statistics. Same way with what is this one here? Sophia Miller, 62,400 followers. Where was that other one? Sophia Miller, 62,400. Here's Sophia Miller, 62,500. So what's up with that? How do we go from Sophia Miller, 62,400, Sophia Miller, 62,500? My guess is between the time that I clicked on this and this channel was at 62,499 subscribers. And by the time I clicked on this one, someone had subscribed to it, and she's now up to 62,500. Good for you. You got yourself a follower. A real one, too, probably. You can pat yourself on the back for that. Where was the other one? Shannon Bream. She's just starting out. She's only got 6.3 thousand subscribers. Emily Parker. She's only got 684. So they're working. But as you can see, I don't know if, well, I do know, but it seems to me like even though she's new, like, how does she have the same exact, like, did she go to the same exact school she went to? Bright yellow, bright red. Like these are the kind of colors that colors have a lot of influence on people. These bright red and bright yellow colors, they often denote a sense of caution or a sense of anger. Uh, as far as I know, like even McDonald's, their colors were yellow and red, ketchup and mustard. Uh, the reason that they use those colors in that restaurant is so that way they could influence people because they're harsh for some reason in the human psyche. Those colors to some people are harsh colors, and they don't want to stick around those colors for very long. So the reason McDonald's uses those colors is that way you would get in there, you would eat your food, and then from being exposed to these certain colors through psychological manipulation, you would want to exit the place as fast as possible. That way they could get more customers in there to buy their food, which you're addicted to. Some people are addicted to, especially the soda. I just had a cousin who recently died from diabetes because he was addicted to soda and stuff like that. It's the caffeine gets you addicted, but the fizziness also of soda or pop, as some people will call it, uh, you know, and all the sweetness to it that just it's like an overwhelming pleasure sensation in the brain. They get addicted to this kind of stuff. Uh, in the Appalachians, there was a huge problem with people getting addicted to Mountain Dew, and there's like whole sections of Appalachia where you can go into where they're just addicted to that kind of stuff, and that their teeth are falling out and rotting out of their head, and they just can't kick it. They just can't kick it. It's as bad. Speaking of the devil, it's as bad to some people as cocaine or meth or stuff like that. It destroys their health, completely destroys their health. Uh, but yeah, going back to the controlling of the news media. So the CIA for a long time has had their hand in controlling and setting up news agencies in order to push their agenda, which falls mainly in line with the agenda of the New World Order. George Bush himself talked a lot about the New World Order, and I'm talking about George Bush, the senior George Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, George H.W. Bush. He, at one point in time, was the director of the CIA. He also was the vice president to Ronald Reagan, who we all know at one point in time was almost assassinated. And had he been assassinated, obviously George Bush would have gotten into the presidency a lot sooner than he did. I think that was all set up because they sort of understood because they know how to manipulate people and they know how people think. They sort of understood that, you know, George Herbert Walker Bush himself, based on his charisma, was not the kind of guy who was probably going to win a election based on charisma alone. He did end up winning an election. I don't know about that because it's like I don't know how much I can trust my government, how much I can trust that they're doing these elections with integrity, uh, because they have an agenda, and as a result, that calls into question their reliability as far as maintaining the transparency of those kinds of institutions like voting. And so the CIA, again, like I said, they being in line with the same agenda as the New World Order, they have an incentive to infiltrate and to influence these influencers and media sources like again CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, PBS, Fox News, all those groups. And even again, like I said, your seemingly smaller independent journalists, uh, they're in that business as well. They're setting a lot of these people up and giving them access to YouTube. Uh, they don't necessarily have to have one big channel where they can do it, so they set up a bunch of little ones. And again, some of these channels have it just seems like a lot of them are bots. That way, when people watch the stuff, they're like, "Oh, there's already a lot of people trust this person. I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to them." So it's not so much they set up one big group, but they set up a bunch of little small groups that are pushing the same exact agenda in order to influence you to have a certain view on a subject. And that view is never the view of the actual truth. It's the view that they want you to have. And whether you're on this side or that side, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the agenda still gets pushed. To prove that the CIA is involved in that kind of stuff, I'm going to show you guys this clip here real quick. This is uh, a video called Operation Mockingbird. Well, the name of the video on here is Operation Mockingbird Church Committee Senate Hearing. And this took place in 1975, and this is Congress asking the CIA a bunch of questions about their involvement in a bunch of different things. And this one here specifically has to do with the media. And I'm going to go ahead and let this play here for you. This is all, this is all recorded by the government, so this is free of any kind of copyright infringement. It's all public knowledge. And not only that, but I am actually scrutinizing it. I can't remember the exact word that they need, but that exempts you also from any kind of copyright. Uh, so I'm going to go ahead and play this here and just listen to what these guys have to say.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
Simple yes or no question. It's either yes or no. If they don't hit you with that no right away, the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into
That's a yes. Just
the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole News and Public Affairs operation in 1954, ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail,
That, again, that's a big, huge yes.
Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
Senator, do you think that you named the news organizations in your final report?
That remains to be decided.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about
it. And there you have it. Is there anything else we need to go over here? Oh, the heart attack gun. Yeah, that was another one that they did in that hearing too. Devious individuals. So I'm going to leave off here. I'm pretty sure I got my point across. I think I explained the situation pretty clearly. I don't think there's much room for questions there. If you have any questions, write them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to try to answer them. If not, for your own edification, for furthering your own knowledge on the actual situation at hand, maybe just for entertainment purposes, because you might have things that you seem are funny and want to poke fun at me. Go ahead and write that down there. I'll respond as best I can. See where it goes from there. But if you watch this video, I thank you for watching, and I don't know if I'm going to make any more. But just, coming across these videos here just kind of motivated me to pick up my microphone and to get on here and to talk about it and to let people know what I think, let people know where I'm coming from, uh, see if they feel like the things that I'm saying are sort of sitting in the back of their mind and being like, maybe he's got a point there. It does seem a little too convenient, but again, like I said, drop a comment below. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. Uh, if you want to, just click X on the video and shut it off. I don't care what you do. Uh, we all got a mission in this world, and we're all heading to different places. I know where I'm going. I know where some other people are going. But yeah, stay safe out there. Say your prayers, and have a great day or night. And maybe I'll talk to you later.